focus energy.
Yeah, and that's a really dangerous attack. You know, if you get that set up, boosting that critical hit chance on the already boosted Ivy Cudgel, it's very dangerous, especially if your opponent is trying to cycle Intimidates. It isn't going to make any difference if you're just critical hitting every turn.
Very true. So let's jump into Swiss round 6 here at EUIC. Arash Ommati leading out with the Raging Bolt paired up with Clefairy. On the opposing side, Alex leading strong and offensive with the Incineroar and Urshifu.
Yeah, nice lead here from Alex. Pretty easy where he's got the fake out support here to prevent anything from attacking that he doesn't want to this turn, and just free up a bit of room for the Urshifu to maybe get a big attack off here into either of these targets. Of course, has to worry about both of the threats from an electric point of view from that Raging Bolt and the Clefairy that doesn't have an attacking option, so you don't really need to worry about that. Only the Raging Bolt this turn, because that is going to threaten heavily. But we are going to see that Clefairy leave the field, the Friend God leaving with it, so you haven't got that defensive Bolt. But maybe the Raging Bolt here tries to go for an attack, maybe protects here while the Rillaboom comes onto the field.
I guess you're switching out that defensive support in the way of having a fake out in the following turn. Incineroar on Alex's side just locks down that opposing Raging Bolt as Urshifu tries to go for these surging strikes into the Clefairy. A fantastic switch by Arash, bringing in this Rillaboom that is not going to mind taking these at all. The wonderful thing now for Arash as well is Rillaboom's got safely onto the field. You can have fake out pressure in the next turn, or you could even go bold and go for something like the Grassy Glide straight into that opposing Urshifu.
Yeah, and the Urshifu is in a position now where it really does want to switch out. It is pressured from both sides of the field here. Like you say, you've got that Grassy Glide pressure. You don't really want to leave and not get any return from your Urshifu. So it's likely here that Alex does switch it out. Could he maybe... this is where Arash could maybe take advantage, start getting some momentum swings here with these two Pokemon. It has to be careful, though. The Rillaboom is in a position where Flare Blitz might pick up the knockouts, so still has to be careful if you are dedicating things into that one slot.
And there are no switches. Alex actually going strong here with the Fire Terror type on the Urshifu. It doesn't have the capability to switch out with something like a U-turn, so if it's going to stay on the field, let's give it a little bit of a protective barrier. Urshifu goes straight for the close combat, fastest thing on the field. Huge amount of damage into the opposing Raging Bolt, but it does now leave itself, even though it isn't Fire Terror, very vulnerable thanks to the defense and special defense drop. Raging Bolt goes for this Dragon Pulse into Incineroar, does a huge chunk of damage. It cannot afford to take another one of these, particularly with the Wood Hammer that really puts it down into the red.
Yeah, it's a huge turn here from Alex. A really bold move to go for that terrestrialization. We talked about it at the top of the match. Going for that in the face of Rillaboom, it gives you a lot more comfort. Now, we are seeing the Incineroar go for the parting shot into that Raging Bolt, so lowering those attacking moves, especially because it has had the booster energy already, so kind of keeping that in check so it's not hitting as hard. And now you're getting the Chen Power out onto the field. You're in a really great position here if you are Alex, because you're pressuring that Rillaboom now that doesn't have access to the fake out anymore with an Icicle Crash, and also the close combat going to be enough to pick up the knockout onto the Raging Bolt.
Exactly, and Alex in such a commanding position here on the speed side of things as well. We saw how speedy that Urshifu was. Raging Bolt would have to go for something like the Thunderclap to get that priority, and at the same time, Chien Pao so speedy and offensive, able to go for something like the Icicle Crash straight into Rillaboom, and with sort of Ruin on the field as well. That's going to be dropping the defenses of these Pokemon.
Yeah, and I think as well, if you are the Raging Bolt, if you do decide to go for that Thunderclap that Arash looks like he may be thinking about here, you've got to be very careful around the Chen Pao on Alex's side of the field, because it has got access to Sucker Punch and could be in range of a Sucker Punch taking it down. So you've got to be very careful from here, but we're not going to see that this turn. Alex just preserving that till later on this game, opting to bring the Incineroar back onto the field.
I like how the Chien Pao was kind of there as temptation, and actually it's just been switched out for the intimidating Incineroar. That's really going to put a spanner in the works for the opposing Rillaboom, but thankfully for Arash, he gets it out of there, bringing that Clefairy back in to bring that Friend Guard to help the Raging Bolt out a little bit.
And the Friend Guard's going to be so useful here. Doesn't have to worry about that Sucker Punch anymore, but does have to worry about a close combat. We know the speed interactions here between the Raging Bolt and the Urshifu. And the Raging Bolt now going for that Terrestrialization, pure electric type, going to boost that Thunderclap even further here. It is going to go lock that in. Is it going to be into the Urshifu? And if it is it enough? It is! Huge critical hit!
Absolutely massive damage coming out from this Raging Bolt. It's not messing around here on the EUIC stage. Urshifu is down and out.
That is so unfortunate. I don't know if it mattered. It feels like it would have mattered. It had taken a defense drop already. The Raging Bolt had been checked by the parting shot from the Incineroar previously, so you've got to think it would have been very close, but the critical hit sealing it up for Arash, taking a huge component away from Alex's side of the field, making it very difficult, but he still has that Chen Pao to come in now and put some pressure on. Has to worry about the Clefairy though.
Yes, exactly. Clefairy able to have a good utility with something like a Follow Me and draw in all of those attacks. On Chien-Pao's side, things like the Sucker Punch, that will fail due to the Follow Me, Icicle Crash, and Sacred Sword. Well, Clefairy doesn't really mind taking those, particularly the Sacred Sword, thanks to its Fairy typing.
Yeah, and you've got an active Fake Out here from the Incineroar here, so it has just come back onto the field. So for at least one turn, you can prevent the Raging Bolt from going for an attack and maybe concentrate down onto the Clefairy, knowing that it's not got any attacking options. Chien-Pao's not really threatened by it, so you can potentially get that Icicle Crash into it this turn, follow it up the next turn, and potentially remove that threat. Knowing that the Rillaboom's in the back as well, Arash still got one Pokemon to reveal. It makes it difficult to switch things around, especially if that fourth and final Pokemon is Ice Weak as well.
Exactly. Chien-Pao does have a lot of momentum, and knowing as well that you cannot drop its stats does put it in this really strong commanding position. And I think Alex kind of going, hey, I've got Raging Bolt, I've got one of those too. Let me activate my Photosynthesis thanks to boosted energy, and we'll also get a special attack boost. So it's going to be a formidable threat. Raging Bolt on Arash's side, as you mentioned, just going straight for these protects, just making sure to burn through any potential fake outs that could have come through from the Incineroar that was there a minute ago.
Yeah, and a really nice protect here from the Clefairy as well, just to avoid any damage. But the Icicle Crash going into the Raging Bolt there, just in case it didn't go for the protect, really catch it out. Now you've got this similar situation here where the Raging Bolt on Arash's side of the field is still really threatened by this Chien-Pao. The Clefairy obviously giving good support with that Follow Me, so you have to worry about that. Can the Chien-Pao and then the Raging Bolt from Alex's side of the field double up into the Clefairy to pick up the knockout? If it doesn't and you miss it, you're giving more room to this Raging Bolt. The grassy terrain still on the field as well and helping out with that health recovery, making it even more difficult to take down.
This is where things get very intense at this point in the competition. These trainers want to make sure that they are taking this game one. Chien-Pao does go for the Icicle Crash. Raging Bolt able to take that really well, having dropped its Dragon typing. It retaliates with the Dragon Pulse, does significant damage to that opposing Chien-Pao as the Raging Bolt on Alex's side utilizes this opportunity to go for a Calm Mind, boosting up its special attack and its special defense.
Yeah, that's a huge turn here for Alex going for that. But the Sing coming out from the Clefairy and putting that Raging Bolt straight to sleep, saying, no, you're not allowed to take advantage of those Calm Minds anymore.
I mean, that's one way to calm your mind, take a nap. Do you know what I mean? Like, just switch off your brain, relax for a minute, and that's really, Clefairy's just trying to help out the opposing Raging Bolt. What a fantastic turn for Arash Ommati.
Yeah, really paying off there, because you see that turn play out, you think, why is the Follow Me not coming out? But because of that Friend Guard, the Raging Bolt able to survive the initial Icicle Crash, and then the Sing paying off there, putting to sleep Chien-Pao going for that Protect this turn.
High risk, high reward, but that's what players need to do at this point. The Follow Me, the classic comes through from Clefairy, just drawing in all the attacks from its opposing Chien-Pao. Dragon Pulse, however, goes into the Protect. Not going to be any damage dealt into that Clefairy here, as the Raging Bolt has to take that turn of sleep.
And it has taken a turn of sleep. The Calm Mind's a really nice option. Just a nice play there from Alex, because although you are asleep, you've still got that defensive boost, so it is going to allow you to take those attacks a little bit better from the opposing Raging Bolt on Arash's side of the field. Opting there for the Chien-Pao, not really going after the Raging Bolt, because that is the target that you've got to go after. But the Clefairy is the primary thing that you're going to need to take down if you are Alex. You've got to hope that you do wake up, and you can then get a double off into it. I think with that Calm Mind boost that you've got on the Raging Bolt, if it does wake up, not going to see it this turn though, might have been enough.
Yeah, seeing some adjustments from Alex, not wanting to run the rest of this Pokemon stays asleep. Let's bring the Incineroar onto the field. The Intimidate's relatively nice, but I think the key thing is to enable that Fake Out to help Chien-Pao out later on in the match. Chien-Pao going for that Protect again here.
Yeah, and getting that double Protect off, that's pretty huge here to allow the Incineroar to come back onto the field. If it does get through this turn, it's going to have that active Fake Out, make it a bit easier for this Chien-Pao to get an additional Icicle Crash off this next turn, which might be enough to get rid of the Raging Bolt, or at least do some good damage to that Clefairy.
Because the thing is, the Incineroar wants to go for the Fake Out into the Raging Bolt so that it cannot go for a potential Thunderclap or that Dragon Pulse that keeps trying to target down into that opposing Chien-Pao. It then utilizes the Chien-Pao to maybe go for the Icicle Crash, get rid of the Clefairy, and then you can kind of set your sights down onto that Raging Bolt to close out the endgame.
Yeah, and if you do predict the Protect on that Raging Bolt here, you could maybe even double in on that Clefairy this turn with your Incineroar, got Icicle Crash, Flare Blitz, and hope that that is going to be enough, especially with the Sword of Ruin ability active, that you can get rid of that support option. Then from there, your Chien-Pao in a great position to deal with that Raging Bolt, especially without that Friend Guard in support. So the Clefairy, the big thing that you need to really try and take advantage of here, especially with that Fake Out that was now active.
honestly, Clefairy's putting in some work. Raging Bolt on Arash's side, just going for the protect, as is the Clefairy. I think Arash being really calculated, knowing the fake out potential on Alex's side, and just trying to burn through them, not allowing Alex to be able to get momentum or the upper hand in this match. As you can see, Sucker Punch was coming out from the Chi and Power as well. It is going to fail thanks to the protects, but Alex is really just trying to get that priority on the board.
Yeah, and if you're Alex at this point, do you then now go, knowing that the Clefairy and the Raging Bolt have just attacked, maybe Icicle Crash into that Raging Bolt, and then hope that the Clefairy goes for the Follow Me, and then you're just doubling up into it anyway? Or maybe if you don't see the Follow Me, you do catch it out and potentially pick up a knockout there.
Again, lots of protects in this game. Both these players know when to switch on the offensive or play defensive in this case. Clefairy once again drawing in those attacks with the Follow Me, as Raging Bolt once again goes for a Dragon Pulse into a protect. These trainers are trying so hard to get the knockouts, but are falling victim to these defensive plays. Incineroar, however, says, "I've had enough of this. Let's get some damage on the board." Flare Blitz, big damage into the opposing Clefairy, and it's just able to hang on as well. Perfectly timed.
That's a huge play here from Alex to try and get a step closer to closing this game up, putting things back in momentum swings for him. But this turn here is going to be the key one, because you've just protected your Chen Power. It's going to be time to potentially attack with it. Or do you maybe switch it out into your Raging Bolt and try and just remove the Clefairy with your Incineroar here? But no, opting to keep and preserve that Incineroar as it goes out, preserving that Intimidate for later. Raging Bolt coming back onto the field for Alex.
It's a tale as old as VGC time, seeing the Incineroar jump in and out of the field to intimidate and fake out later on. Once again, is see the Follow Me, but the Clefairy actually avoids the Icicle Crash. Chi and Power finally going on the offensive, but to no avail. The Dragon Pulse will connect this time, and it will be a knockout. Suddenly seeing a little bit of change in pace in this particular set.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for Alex, because that Icicle Crash, we do know it's not got the best accuracy, does miss the Clefairy there. Pulled in from that Follow Me. If it hits, you've got to think it would be enough to take it down. Then that Friend Guard's gone. Like I say, you would lose your Chen Power for your trouble. The Raging Bolt on Alex's side of the field still has to wake up, but you're in a position where you have got that fake out support. You've still got it this turn. You can slow down the Raging Bolt on Arash's side, at least for one turn, and hope that your Raging Bolt wakes up and then has enough to be able to damage the Clefairy, remove it from the field.
I think we know what's coming with this next turn. Incineroar's joined the field for Alex. There's going to be a fake out, so Arash is naturally going to go for the double protect. And although it is a very kind of safe play, it's optimal at the end of the day, because unless you want to play that game of trying to predict where the fake out's going and maybe making a switch, it's really not to your benefit. So just going for the double protect, scouting out where the fake out's going and what the partner Pokemon wants to do is an option for you. And of course, the Raging Bolt on Alex's side is still sleeping, so we are going to see just the forfeit locked in.
Yeah, forfeit here from Alex here, not wanting to continue with this one, wants to reset as Arash takes game one in this round 6 tie-off.
Yes, amazing to see such a interesting end to that game, actually. At the beginning, there was a lot of offensive plays from both trainers, a lot of pressure being put on the board, but for me, the turn that really changed it around was when Clefairy went for Sing. You know, Alex was in a great position going for that Calm Mind, and you could really see him setting up towards the end game, trying to gain a little bit of dominance in the match and make that special defensive wall, but as well offensively pressured. Raging Bolt, things like the Dragon Pulse and the Thunderclap could have done a lot of damage to Arash's side. However, being put to sleep just really kind of stopped him, had to put him on the back foot a bit.
Yeah, and I do feel as well, a little bit like this Thunderclap, I think this is the turn here that we're recapping. The critical hit here was huge, I think, because of the terrestrialization on the Urshifu. I really feel, even though the defense drops had happened, it probably would have survived. And I think this is where a big bit of momentum swung for Arash here. And I think you can see maybe was a little bit unfortunate with picking up a knockout there and took away one of the big key aspects for Alex in this game. It made it very difficult. Like you said, another real key pivotal turn was punishing the fact that that Raging Bolt went for a Calm Mind and went for the Sing into it, and it really paid off in that situation. Made it difficult for Alex to again gain any momentum from that time on. And like our old buddy Adam would say, if you want to win the raffle, you've got to buy the ticket.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Clefairy's definitely got a ticket for that front row there. It really was the thorn in Alex's side a bit, because yes, it went for the Sing, but actually as I reflect on its interactions with the opposing Raging Bolt, it's not like the Raging Bolt can go for Dragon type moves into it. It's a Fairy type. And then if you keep going for Follow Me, Thunderclap's going to keep failing. And actually taking a look at Clefairy, it has no offensive move. So Actually, that Raging Bolt has no way to hit the opposing Clefairy. Also, Clefairy has no way to hit it back.
Yeah, it's a bit of a standoff there, isn't it? Because you're then relying on things like your Incineroar that you're going to bring, and then your Urshifu. So if your Urshifu goes down like it did there, and I think Arash keeping that in mind for maybe not having to rely on a critical hit going into this game too, but then planning around trying to take it down the best he can as quick as possible, then the options for Alex become very limited to dealing with that combination of the Raging Bolt and the Clefairy, because then if you're really just relying on your Raging Bolt as your big offensive threat, then it's not really going to be the answer that you're looking for.
I really hope both trainers are cognizant of the fact that a Raging Bolt Clefairy endgame wouldn't end so well, because neither Pokemon would be able to touch the other, and it would be a very interesting way of playing out Game 2, but let's hope that that doesn't quite come to fruition. I think one other thing I want to really credit from both these players was the way they played with the Protects.
Yeah, I think it was really pivotal throughout that match. A really good identification there where there was real key turns where both players were trying to get into the right position. You had on one side Alex protecting that Chen Pao, getting the Incineroar onto the field, getting that fake out support active. And then on the other side of the field, you had the Clefairy, and it was going for that Sing. The Raging Bolt maybe protecting, or the Clefairy protecting, double protecting when necessary to burn that fake out whenever Alex got it in position. But we are seeing a bit of a change-up going into this game too, Lou.
Do you know what? I love this. The Golden Go coming for Alex, paired up with the Rillaboom against the Urshifu and the Rillaboom of Arash Ommati's side. The Golden Go, a fantastic adaptation considering Clefairy gave Alex so much trouble. Why don't you have a Pokemon that can deal super effective damage to it with Make It Rain?
Yeah, and it's a really nice adaptation here. Gives you a lot to think about if you are Arash. You can't freely bring in that Clefairy like you did in that turn one. You've got to really prioritize getting rid of that Golden Go as soon as possible before you're able to utilize that Friend Guard, the Follow Me support, and even those cheeky Sings. So we'll see what goes on here. Of course, you've got the Urshifu out on the field at the moment. Does pressure a lot of damage onto that Goldingo with something like the Surging Strikes, but you have to be careful around the Rillaboom. Both of them on each side of the field have active Fake Out here, although the one on Arash's side isn't going to really be able to take much use onto that Goldingo that Ghost typing.
Yes, and Ogerpon coming onto the field as well, another fantastic adjustment. Being able to have that fire typing and a powerful Ivy Cudgel into either of Alex's Pokemon here is not going to be appreciated in the following turn. Fake out from Arash Ommati's Rillaboom into the opposing one enables the Golden Go on Alex's side to capitalize on the fact it's got away scot-free here, and it can go for this nasty plot. Being a Ghost type, it didn't even worry about that Fake out.
Yeah, that's a really nice play there from the Goldingo. I mean, from Arash's side of things, going for the Fake Out into the Rillaboom, just keeping that Ogerpon safe in case maybe even a U-turn comes out onto that side of the field to position, pivot out. You're preventing that, and then you've got something on both sides of the field that are under pressure now going into this next turn from that Ogerpon that can apply a lot of pressure. Goldingo in particular doesn't want to waste that nasty plot here, so maybe a Protect as we see a reposition.
I also like this adjustment here by Alex, bringing that Rillaboom out of here and bringing in a Pokemon that isn't going to worry about checking that opposing Ogerpon, is indeed going to be that Incineroar, an Ivy Cudgel, or even any Grass type move is not going to be anything that Incineroar is going to worry about. And I think Golden Go wisely going for the Protect as well allows Arash. Oh, I love this play. I was going to say allows Alex a bit of protection, but then Arash can capitalize on that as well and go for that focus energy. The critical hits are going to be fierce. This is something Alex has to watch out for.
Yeah, and this is really dangerous here because the focus energy, like you mentioned, boosts that critical hit rate. And the Goldingo almost going to be forced into terrestrializing if it can get through this next turn. You've got the Incineroar positioned well from Alex to go along with that Goldingo. So making sure you've got the Fake Out into that Ogerpon this next turn so you can potentially get a Make It Rain off. Now, the Clefairy has to be very careful here, but it's an easy turn for Arash just to say, okay, this is fine. I can just go for the Spike Your Shield and then the Protect, burn your Fake Out, and then I'm really in a great position going into this next turn where I've got the Follow Me with my Clefairy again, and then I've got this Ivy Cudgel that I can throw out into your Goldingo with my Ogerpon.
And this is where things get very interesting. That Golden Go being able to have been boosted up is now actually leaving the field. It's in too vulnerable a position, and Alex brings in its Water type in the face of a potential Ivy Cudgel. As soon as Clefairy joined the field, it's actually left us as well in replacement of this Rillaboom, which is fantastic positioning for Arash, identifying that the Water type's going to join the field, so I need my Grass type there to be able to apply pressure to it.
Yeah, and I think the Incineroar here not opting. This is a brave decision here from Alex, predicting maybe a double protect here, going for that parting shot into his own Urshifu here to make sure that it is off the field, it is in the back. You can cycle that Intimidate in, and you can get the Rillaboom back onto the field now in a position where you've got that active fake out. Again, you can slow down that Ogerpon on the other side of the field and maybe even reposition the Urshifu out for the Incineroar this turn to drop another Intimidate.
I mean, you can understand that, right? Arash has been going for those double protects the whole way through the set, so it was a wise prediction, but really interesting to always see those side kind of afflicting moves happen in order to get that ball position. The Rillaboom's in prime position on the field now as well. If I remember correctly, I think Arash's is the faster, but we might have to double check that interaction.
Yeah, I think the faster of the two, so you have to be a little bit careful here, but it's so easy for Alex here just to protect the Urshifu and then bring in the Incineroar once again. Here, you're going to drop that Intimidate, although the thing is about the Focus Energy, don't really worry about the Intimidate drops because you've got that boosted critical hit chance. It's going to override that. It's going to just be able to do as much damage as you need it to, and we are going to see the Terastallization kicked in here.
I honestly think it's a stroke of genius because, as you've mentioned, the critical hit will negate any of those drops. And although we see a lot of Swords Dance Ogerpon, you still need that critical hit in order to be able to, if you've taken a lot of Intimidates, for example, be able to go through. So it's really interesting to see that come into play. The fake out comes through from the Rillaboom as the Ogerpon does indeed go for the Euic Cudgel into the Incineroar that switched in, does a significant chunk of damage with that critical hit, but Incineroar going to be able to take that really well thanks to his typing.
Yeah, the Terastallization here from the Urshifu, really nice. It is going to be able to do it. Decent amount of damage to the Ogerpon on the opposite side of the field now. I'm not really going to have to worry about the Grassy Glide or the Wood Hammer from the Rillaboom either. So in a pretty comfortable position. You just need to be able to manage it better this game than what happened last game. You don't want to get taken down to a critical hit like it did with that Raging Bolt from Arash in game 1. And I feel like in this position as well, you resist the Ivy Cudgel here from the Ogerpon. So you can pretty comfortably sit in front of it and try and get some big damage off.
Here comes the second Ivy Cudgel, being a little bit more precarious towards that Incineroar with another guaranteed critical hit here thanks to the Focus Energy as Urshifu goes for the Surging Strikes. This will also give out some guaranteed critical hits, and it looks like it's going to be enough.
It will be enough. The final and third one is enough to take down this Ogerpon. It's critical hit twice into the Incineroar. You can see the damage that it's doing there, but Incineroar doing a great job to be able to remove this huge threat from Arash's side of the field, and Alex taking an early lead in this game.
Do you know what? There was so much effort that Arash put into that Ogerpon, but unfortunately, it really didn't get to dominate through it. It just went for 2 Ivy Cudgels into the opposing Incineroar, not really able to get any knockouts or get some big damage on the board. Arash has to reassess now.
Yeah, and one of the ways he can reassess is with his own Urshifu. The problem is with Alex going for that Terastallization into the Fire type, it's now weak. But we are seeing a Will-O-Wisp come out into that slot and burn the Urshifu. A huge turn here from Alex.
I love the nod of respect from Arash there, seeing that play and just being like, yep, you've got me. That was a fantastic call by the Incineroar, being able to burn that opposing Urshifu and make it a little less formidable on the field.
Yeah, caught me mid-conversation there with the Will-O-Wisp firing out there and just talking about the type advantage that you have. Alex not in the best of positions because of that fire typing. The water typing going to do a lot of damage, but the burn is huge here. Now the Clefairy coming in, you've got to deal with that, of course. You've got to contend with those Follow Me's and the Friend God, but you're in a decent position here with that Rillaboom still intact in the back to bring onto the field and not really have to worry too much. Of course, you have to worry about the close combats, but if you are committing to close combats, then maybe gives your own Urshifu a little bit of room to close combat back in return to try and get some damage off onto the Urshifu if you can stall out the Follow Me from the Clefairy.
Exactly, and if I was Arash, I'd be more concerned about the Golden Go that's hiding in the back. It hasn't joined the field since the beginning of the game, but there doesn't seem to be a way on Arash's side to be able to go through it. The Urshifu was burned, the Clefairy has no attacking moves, and what can a Rillaboom realistically do to an opposing Golden Go? So it's a very interesting position that Arash is in at the moment, with Alex seeming to be firmly in the driving seat. Here does return the Golden Go, a double swap actually. Yeah,
we're going to see a Terastallization from Arash's side of the field, and it's likely going to be on to that Urshifu, which is the Water Terra type, boosting those Surging Strikes that it has access to alongside the Aqua Jet. And it has got the Ice Punch. It hasn't got close combat. We identified that at the start of the match, and the Surging Strikes is what this Urshifu is opting for into the Rillaboom, but because of that burn, not really picking up as much damage as what Arash would like to be seeing.
Yeah, even without the burn, it's a tall order for the Urshifu into an opposing Rillaboom, but that really is negligible damage for a move that does 3 critical hits. Clefairy once again going for the Sing and finding its mark into that opposing Rillaboom. This could be a little bit of breathing room for the Urshifu to try and get some more damage on the board, maybe switch things up and go for something like that Ice Punch in the next turn. But the burn's hard.
The burn is really hard, and the Sing hitting once again is huge for Arash because you're bringing the Rillaboom onto the field if you're Alex with that active Fake Out to potentially slow down the Urshifu this next turn, put the Clefairy in a really awkward position, and by doing that, you've got the opportunity to then go for a nasty plot, and then from then on out, you've got the pivot to the Incineroar, and you can really start to try and craft a win position with that Goldingo and pressure and remove that Clefairy pretty easily. But the Sing really putting a spanner in the works here for Alex. Got a lot to do as the helping hand comes out from this Clefairy.
Yeah, everything needs to be happening for this Urshifu right now. The Rillaboom is, of course, going to be taking a nap, not able to go for any of his priority moves here in this turn. As Urshifu goes for the Surging Strikes, it is Terra Water boosted, it is Helping Hand boosted, but there is also a burn, so it is underwhelming damage, but will do a significant chunk to the opposing Golden Go. Another Surging Strikes will be able to get the knockout afterwards, as long as Golden Go doesn't have anything to do too tricksy in this turn.
Yeah, and if we are going to see it return with a Shadow Ball here, not wanting to go for the Make It Rain just yet, just get some decent damage onto that Urshifu. But you saw how much the Surging Strikes did. The burn really helping it survive here. It does have the leftovers, it does have grassy terrain in effect, but the problem is with that Unseen Fist ability, you can't really protect in front of the Urshifu. You need your Rillaboom to wake up, you need that support, and you need to be able to remove the Urshifu before you feel like you can really move forward in this match with the Goldingo to close things out.
The question is whether the Urshifu needs the Helping Hand now in order to get that knockout on the opposing Golden Go. Clefairy is in an interesting spot where it cannot go for something like a Sing into the opposing Golden Go, thanks to its good as gold ability, not allowing status moves to have any effect. So Clefairy really can't do too much to Golden Go at this point. It could go for a Follow Me, however, try and draw in a Shadow Ball, but then if Golden Go goes for the Make It Rain, that's going to be a difficult spot for Clefairy, as well as, you know, wasting a turn when you could have gone for the Helping Hand, let's say.
Yeah, and I think if you don't go for the Follow Me, you risk taking a Grassy Glide if that Rillaboom does wake up, and that will really be a detriment to Arash at this point. So it's safer just to go for that Follow Me, and we are seeing that with the Surging Strike. Like you say, is it going to be enough to pick up the Goldingo? It's going to be very close. That's 1, 2 is going to be and it's going to be enough.
It was close, though, and particularly with that burn, you never can fully calculate how debilitating it's going to be until you see it in action. But the Golden Go is out of there, and that definitely was a threat for Arash, you know, making sure that the Rillaboom isn't going to have to deal with it in a one-on-one basis, because it looks like the Golden Go was going to be able to run away with that. Another turn of sleep for the opposing Rillaboom here. Now, the issue is, how do you now deal with the Rillaboom? Unless Clefairy wants to keep putting it to sleep, I don't see, other than the Ice Punch, what the Urshifu can do.
Yeah, and because you are burnt as well, the Ice Punch, even Helping Hand boosted, isn't really going to be probably cutting it. I think if you stall out the grassy terrain, it probably will help you deal with the Rillaboom a little bit easier. But again, it's so easy for the Rillaboom at this stage to maybe just switch out to something in the back and then reposition, get it back on the field, activate that grassy terrain, and you're likely going to either wake up this turn, and if you don't wake up the next turn, you've got a guaranteed wake up the following turn after that, where you can then start launching off those Wood Hammers, those Grassy Glides, supporting with a Fake Out, etc. And one Pokemon to really help support your Rillaboom, bringing it onto the field now, dropping an Intimidate, along with that active Fake Out is the Incineroar.
And if we really analyze the way Arash has played this set, there's a Fake Out on the field, very likely to see the double protect come through on Arash's side, and I think that's what we can see him locking in here. Of course, Alex will be able to capitalize on that, and the thing is, you can then burn through another turn of sleep on that Rillaboom. So I understand why Arash is doing it, but as you can see, Alex going, I'm not even going to Fake Out, I'm going to kind of psych you out here and make an adjustment, bring my Fire Urshifu onto the field, and allow one turn of sleep to go through on my Rillaboom. So hopefully it's going to wake up soon.
Yeah, we are going to see the double protect here. Clefairy just not wanting to take any damage here, as it is joyfully going for another protect in front of these two threats. But the Rillaboom, like you say, does wake up, trying to get that U-turn off. So,
it does.
Into the Urshifu. Here he is going to be able to get the Incineroar back onto the field and have that active Fake Out. This is a great play from Alex, positioning-wise, predicting that double protect.
Honestly, consistency can be key, but sometimes it can be the thing that puts you on the back foot. Alex reading so perfectly how Arash is playing that out. And look at this, another Intimidate down on the field. Fake Outs back in. I mean, Arash, what are you going to do? Double protect again? It's too risky.
It's too risky here, and you've got that Fake Out where you can go for it into the Clefairy, prevent that Follow Me for at least a turn. Or you can go for the Fake Out into the Urshifu, go for the Surging Strike into the Clefairy, try and get damage off there. But if you're confident that your Urshifu, if you're Alex, outspeeds Arash's, then you can go for the Fake Out in the Clefairy, stop that follow me, and then go for that close combat into the opposing Urshifu, potentially pick up a knockout and take one step closer to clinching this set and tying it up, take it into a game 3.
That was such a beautiful turn. The fact that the Rillaboom also woke up, could go for that self U-turn, and critically Alex identifying that the one thing Arash doesn't want is fake out on the field, and he guaranteed that it would happen in the next turn. Clefairy able to bypass with priority that helping hand, but to no avail. The fake out went down into the Urshifu. There will be no damage coming out on Arash Ommati's side of the field. However, Alex Gomez is going to try with a surging strike into the opposing Urshifu, but it's not going to be able to get the KO this particular turn.
Not this turn, but you've got to say that the chip damage with the burn as well is going to stack up here. It's not going to be enough to pick up the knockout, and especially with the grassy terrain in effect here, really helping heal up that damage. It's a nice play there from Alex, where he's able to kind of capitalize on a situation, getting the fake out into the Urshifu there and going for the surging strike, just in case we do see a follow me there from the Clefairy, but opting to protect this turn. But now that Urshifu on Arash's side of the field falling ever so closer to being susceptible, getting knocked out, and I think that's something that Arash has to worry about here. He does still have the Rillaboom in the back to potentially bring in and use that Clefairy while it's still active.
The temptation's got to be to go to follow me on the Clefairy and then go for surging strikes on the Urshifu, try and go into the fire Urshifu on the opposing side. But that Rillaboom, as you said, Lee, is sneaky in the back. It could easily come through. So possibly you want to use Clefairy to go for a sing into that slot. Maybe it'll hit into the Urshifu. It's been pretty accurate so far in this set. And even if, you know, there is the switch, then Rillaboom might be taking another nap in this set.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you would risk if you're Alex here, because this thing's so low accuracy. We are seeing that Incineroar switch out for that Rillaboom. It is going to come back onto the field now, and it will have that fake out active after this turn. The grassy terrain set up once again.
But where did Arash go with the surging strikes? The helping hand is there. It's boosted. It's got same type attack bonus. It's got Terra boost. But instead, the Aqua Jet on Alex's side, it's not enough, though. Tries to be able to get the knockout before Urshifu on Arash's side can move. But no, Arash will be able to go down into the opposing Urshifu and knock it out.
Even with that burn, going to be enough to 2-hit KO with that helping hand boost. And the Urshifu on Alex's side of the field going down. This war of attrition between these Urshifus. Arash has come out victorious here, and Aurora taking a step closer to closing this game out.
You've got to credit this little Clefairy, that friend guard ability coming in clutch, being able to enable its partner Urshifu to take that Aqua Jet. Doesn't look like it's going to be able to take too much more. However, that burn is ticking away. The HP is incredibly low on that Urshifu, and Alex still has that Incineroar. Now, Arash might want to go for the double protect, but can he even afford to with the burn?
I think he can do in this situation, because with the grassy terrain being in effect, it's kind of cancelling out the burn. So
it goes first, right?
Yeah, it goes first, give you that bit of recovery. So you'll be in the same position going into the next turn. So you do double protect here, I think, in this situation. And then you've got an option to take down that Incineroar. And I think from there, you might be able to weave in and out with your own Rillaboom, the Clefairy support as well, to deal with that remaining Rillaboom. That's one way to look at it, at least. But we're going to see how things play out here, Lou.
Well, as usual, Arash going for the double protect here. Alex Gomez is down to his last 2 remaining Pokemon, so we cannot see any switching shenanigans here, although Rillaboom is trying to go for the U-turn just for the damage into that opposing Clefairy. No fake out from this Incineroar, of course. Instead went on to the offensive with that Flare Blitz. And you can really see Alex kind of going, this Clefairy is really causing me some trouble. It's caused me trouble all set. I want to get rid of it now, but it's going to stick around for at least one more turn.
Yeah, and one more turn is probably one turn too many for Alex here. It is going to be in the position where he just can't click that follow me this next turn. It's going to pull in any grass type attack from the Rillaboom, any fire type attack from this Incineroar, and it's likely both of them, they might be able to pick up the knockout onto it, but will that be enough for the Urshifu then in this situation to potentially get the knockout onto the Incineroar, or could you see maybe even an Ice Punch onto that Rillaboom?
This is what I love, though, Clefairy being so useful as a supporting Pokemon, going for that follow me, bringing in the Grassy Glide, not taking too much damage from it, but most importantly, protecting the Urshifu so it can go for these surging strikes into the Incineroar. Doesn't matter that it's burnt, it's going to be more than enough to get the KO.
And that is a huge turn here from Arash, able to pick up the knockout onto this Incineroar. Massive here, leaving Alex with these lowly Rillaboom against the Rillaboom, the Urshifu, and the little Clefairy that could on Arash's side of the field.
Honestly, the redemption arc for Arash Ommati in this game too has been incredible. Alex Gomez was in such a strong position, but I think when that Golden Go went down, that's when things really started to unravel. The battle is cancelled. Arash Ommati is going to take this set.
This is an incredible win from Arash, and like you said, the whole theme of this whole game has been the Clefairy. How useful it was the star of the show. The follow me, the friend guard, the positioning, the protecting.